Alright, tutorial time. So I thought this would be a good moment to show the current meta routes and approaches to any percent runs in Dragon's Dogma 2. There will be two videos. This one is about New Game and the next one will be about New Game Plus. I will try to show all the endings, or at least I will show like one ending, the bad ending, and explain the necessary changes that you have to do the other runs, because they are very similar. There's just a few choices that you need to alter for the Dragon percent ending. And if I don't forget it, I will also talk about the true ending, but no one does that anyway, because it's kind of pointless. I do not have much experience doing these tutorials, so excuse all the ums and the ers, and of course the slick German accent that you have to endure now. But I will try my best to keep it short and concise. And yeah, I try to cover everything that is necessary. There are quite a few choices, strategy-wise and routing-wise, especially in New Game. It's definitely not done routing, in my opinion. There's quite a few things to figure out, which is actually faster. I will show you my suggestion for the current best route, which is not the world record route, because it's a bit older, and no one has run New Game in quite a while. So I will show you like my suggestion for how to approach it now, but it doesn't really change the timing a lot from the current world record. It's just a little bit more consistent. And I will show you both versions anyway. So let's start with external tooling. There's nothing that you need with regards to external tooling, but if you run on PC, I highly suggest to use the DD2 Save Manager. You get it on Nexus Mods. It's basically just a tool that while it runs, it backups all the automatic saves that Dragon's Dogma 2 does, and you can give them like a name and keep them. And you can also set up how many saves are backed up, so you don't like create too many copies of them. But this is quite handy to just have practice saves, like so you can practice later parts of the run without having to do a complete rerun or reset. And especially in New Game Plus, this is like a really, really important tool. But this video is about a New Game, so if you run on PC, just use that. It's definitely allowed, because it's just a save game backup tool. Of course, not during the run. You start a new game and you're not allowed to save to load like a save from a previous run or something. But for practicing, this is worth having, most definitely. So yeah, DD2 Save Manager. Apart from that, there is, as far as I know, no one who uses like an FPS limiter or something like that. It's not forbidden, and technically there's one door in the game, or rather a gate, the one where you need like the magic dagger to open it, that you can clip through if you have like 30 or less FPS. I think 35 is what I did it with maximum. You can just use the thief dash against the door and clip through it. There's also videos where some players like jump over it kinda, because it has no clipping bounds. But you don't gain anything. You cannot sequence break the game that way, and if you could, there's also different routes that go to the volcanic island without having to go through this gate. So you don't have any advantage of using FPS limiters. There's no minimum FPS that you need to do this run. Just run the game. Really nothing special about it regarding external tooling. The only thing that's worth mentioning is the live split integration. It comes with live split. Just choose Dragon's Dogma 2 as a game and you get an auto splitter and a load remover. The load remover is kind of pointless. It removes like only a few seconds per run. Usually it's not much. That is actual load time. And the game, or if you submit to speedrun.com, the game is counted as a real-time attack anyway, so the load remove time isn't really worth measuring. But the auto splitter is quite handy. It splits on quests when you finish quests, or the active quest changes, more precisely. And right now I have to update it every time the game updates because I have manual offsets in there. So if you have a version or there's an update and I didn't update it, feel free to hit me up on Discord, on the Speedrun Discord for this game, and remind me that I should update the auto splitter, and I will do that as soon as possible. I will also have the auto splitter run during this run. I will pause it if I go on extended monologues and pause the game, or if I show something outside of the game, which will happen a few times. So this is just like a rough idea on how the splits time, where the splits are and what the times are. I usually run New Game Plus, so I'm not exactly sure if these splits are still correct or if there's one too many or one too few. So I might have to manually fix them during the run. Don't take these splits too serious, but I thought it would be nice to have a timer running in case it helps you. All right. So let's start. We will just start a new game. There's a button for that. Used to be that there's no button for that, but they patched it in quite early, unfortunately. Took like a week and a lot of shitstorm to have it patched in. And then you get to the character creation. The character creation is before the timer starts. The timer starts when you get control over your character, so you don't have to rush this. You can take your time. But the character creation, or at least the result of the character creation, needs to be visible when you record a run to submit it to speedrun.com. So don't just have the video recording start when the timer starts, because that invalidates your submission. Trust me, I had a run rejected because I didn't read the rules. Alright, the character creation unfortunately is quite important because it has a massive impact on your movement speed. So make sure you pick the right settings here. First of all, it does seem that gender does not matter, but you should pick someone with a fur, or a beastren, I think is the lore name for that. The reason is that we take the legal way through the Bethal Gate, and we don't want a detour to get a mask or something, so we want just want to get through the gate with a permit, and that requires you to be a beastren. So pick something furry. I just pick the largest dude that's here, but we have to fix the body anyway, so the preset doesn't really matter that much. So there's a lot of settings here. The exact impact of all these settings is not entirely clear. I will show you how to check it during the run, right after we do this here, when the run starts. So you can experiment with different settings. There are two settings that are most definitely important. One is posture. The movement style slider needs to go to maximum, to the very right. This is supposed to be like the visual style of the running animation, but it heavily influences your running speed. And the body height, you want to maximize this. Actually it's the body height and the leg height, or leg length rather. So if you increase the torso length, for some reason it gets shorter. I never really understood why, but relative to your body height, this increases your leg length, and this does seem to slightly impact your running speed. Again, the most important or heaviest impact is body height and the posture movement slider. The rest, it seems, does not have much of an impact. I see some runners minimizing basically the thickness of body parts. This is to reduce like the weight, but it also reduces the muscle mass, and it does seem to kind of balance each other out. So in my little experiments, it didn't impact anything too much. Really, the important thing to remember is just set these two to max. Oops. And the posture movement slider to the very right. And the rest, you can see if it impacts anything to, I don't know, minimize everything. You can do it for this run. Or not. So the way you measure this is right after we start, during the walking at the very beginning, which I can show you now. But before we get there, we have to choose our vocation. The 3 fastest movement styles in this game are all thief movement techniques. The 4th one is, I think, the fighter, might also be the warrior. The one where you have this shield running animation. It looks fast, but if you measure it, it's definitely slower than taking the thief. So even if you would do NG Plus runs, where we would play as a warfarer in the current meta, you would still do the movement as a thief, so have the daggers in hand whenever you have to move. Thief it is, voice doesn't matter. You don't have to pick a name if you don't want to, and you can just continue. As soon as this dialogue here ends, the timer starts, and then you play catch up to this guy, and depending on where you catch up with him, you can see how fast you are. So let's skip that. I already hold W in this case. Skip the DLC dialogue that pops up there. And we will catch up to him quite early. If you pick like just an average character, oh, by the way, you can talk to him to make him stop. It makes it easier to go past him. If you pick like an average character, you catch up to him roughly around here. So even when you're not allowed to run yet, thank you, sir, but can only walk, it already has a massive impact on your movement speed when you choose different settings for your body. Alright, apart from that, this part is pretty boring. Nothing much we can do to prevent like people talking to us, and we still have to carry that stone at the end of this little walk here. There's no way around that. Depending on if you did everything perfect until you get to that stone in a second, the very moment that you pick up that stone, there's gonna be a woman starting a dialogue with you, which prevents you from picking up the stone. So what I want to do is, or what I usually do is, I spam dialogue skip before picking up this here. There's a dialogue, and then after I spammed dialogue skip and actually skip the dialogue, I press E to pick up the stone. By the way, I will always describe things from the perspective of a keyboard user. Sorry for that.
Job well done.
You can put down the stone a little bit before this guy, and I always put it down slightly to my left so I don't stumble over it when I run. For the upcoming fight, you don't have to fight this creature. You can just jump down here, or you can run ahead to that passage, to that cave passage that we run through now, in order to skip the fight. Regarding console or PC, by the way, there's really no difference between these two. It's just the key mapping that changes, and you can't have external tools or mods. But the run is perfectly the same. There isn't any difference as far as we can tell. So right behind us now is a blocked cave entrance. There's a griffin here. We want to go through that later on, so keep that in mind. There's a chest here with a health potion. We want to take this, and then we want to get away from our companion here as quickly as possible because he's annoying. He will talk to us to stop us. You can pick this up, this green warish here. It's optional. if you pick it up, it's to create a second health potion, which you can do by killing these three. One of these three here, don't get too much damage. It's surprisingly easy. And one of these three always is a guaranteed apple drop. There's the apple, so you can create a second potion. You can also skip this. It's just for safety. It obviously costs time to do this. We skip the fight to our right here and just go straight ahead. By the way, I will talk about movement techniques after this camp here, because then I have a little more time to explain things. Your pawn, just go as quickly as you can through creating it. As vocation, we take mage, because then he can heal us. The inclination doesn't really matter, and you don't have to do any other settings, just click through it to create your pawn.
When we return,
Right after this dialogue, there's an optional thing that you can do. I never do it, but it's certainly a possibility, and that is to talk to the woman to your left, right at the beginning. It obviously costs time, but talking to her, just pick another time and you get 120 RC. If you like higher pawns later on, you might be lucky and get expensive pawns that are obviously also better and thereby help you more. And you might not have enough of these RC points, and this way you have like a little bit more to spend at the beginning. Let me quickly pause the timer here. Alright. For the next part. So I don't do that. I never ran out of RC, to be honest, so I just don't talk to her. Just run straight ahead to the entrance there and do the mandatory sleep. You have to sleep in that inn, or that tent rather. And right after you get out, what I suggest you do is actually go run there and talk to this guy, because you have to talk to this guy if you run through this gate. It takes a few seconds. It's quite annoying. There are alternatives, but in my opinion, in New Game, they are not worth it. One of them is to go up here, and you can jump over there. And then the actual hardest part of this is to get down there without getting like this little stun time, because you jumped from a height. It's not high enough that you have this animation where you land completely flat, but you still get this little falling time block there. And that makes it, because you have to run around, it doesn't really make it worth it. You can also just run through that gate there where you came from and take the path outside of the camp. It might even be a little bit faster, but we're talking sub-second time save there. Another possibility is to do this, which is really hard to consistently do every time. I basically already messed up. But you go here to the furthest right. You hold your run button, you run forward and jump, and land down here. It's easy to get damage here, which is one reason why I suggest not doing it. Also, doing this quickly and consistently without losing time is really hard, and you save like 1 or 2 seconds. It's Corpsey, one of our runners, timed it, and we kinda think that it's not really worth it. So if you have optimized everything else in this run and you really want to save those additional 1 or 2 seconds, you can train doing this. But in my opinion, just talk to the dude and deal with the time loss that you get there. Alright, let's resume the timer. So we talk to this guy, we run out here. You can fight against these over there, or anyone on the way, to get skill points to level some skills, fighting skills earlier, which makes it easier to do the fights later on. In general, for this run, I will always take the hardest approach and don't do any skilling that is optional, and just run ahead. Movement technique wise, there's this movement here, which is just alternating between forward dash, or swift step is the name, and carve, which is just attacking. So it's just left click, right click, left click, right click. There's some people that do it this way. This is right click, left click, right click, left click. It's just a timing difference between these two. I prefer this one, but they're roughly the same speed. Also, if you do this biting wind, which is this here, this is the fastest movement. You always do left click, right click after it to cancel the animation at the end. Pick up any pawns that you find on the way here. There's usually one on this path here, because you want 2 or 3 pawns with you. So this is run, and then do left click, right click once, run, left click, right click, run, left click, right click. Just look like on the lower right which movement I actually do. The thing is, this takes stamina and this does not. So you can always do this movement. If you're running past enemies, you auto aim at them, which costs you a lot of time. So you want to time them such that you get quite close to an enemy, and then you can just do this. And once you're past the enemies, so you no longer auto aim at them, you can do this to gain distance, and then just do your usual movement, which is always doing this until you run out of stamina, and then do the movement that costs no stamina, which is the fastest one that doesn't cost stamina. So that I made that way more complicated than it's supposed to be, but you will see me do this movement a lot, and you can just copy the movement. It's really mechanic wise, it's super easy. It's just the hard part is knowing where the enemies are gonna be and not getting stuck by auto aiming at them and running towards them. This is the hard part about the movement. Okay, let's go to this area. Quick note about this part. Once we go in there, there's gonna be we're gonna get interrupted, and there's a cutscene, actually a lot of cutscenes. And a new game, we don't really have a way around that. You can jump over this wall there and get into the city without the cutscene, but then you cannot sequence break the game in there. There are NPCs in there, but you cannot talk to them. You cannot do anything worth talking about. So there's really no way around this. In NG Plus, we actually skip this entire town and the quest that follows it by going through the mountain ridge over there. Basically jumping over the cliffs up there to completely get to this part of the map here. No, sorry, here. But this is not an option in GE because we have yet to figure out a way to get there. If you want to speed up this run dramatically, figure that out. But I haven't found a way because you lack skills that make you like jump further or levitate, which is what we need in order to do this skip. So we have to live with this being, unfortunately, a cutscene and a very annoying quest after it. The quest we kind of skip, but we don't really save time skipping it. So get in here and then you get interrupted. It's a dialogue, so you skip it by doing dialogue skips. You get interrupted again around here. And then you run in here and you have 2 cutscenes. And then there's supposedly a fight that you should lose. You can skip that again by just jumping down that cliff or behind you. Just run somewhere here, jump down, and then you get a few more cutscenes. Actually, I just hold down the tab button to skip cutscenes until there's this house. This one, and after that cutscene there's a dialogue. The choices of dialogue doesn't really matter regarding speed. And after that dialogue there's another cutscene and another dialogue. And this is where we actually have a choice on how to proceed with the run. And I will first show you the world record routing, and then I will show you one that I think is better. So we pause the time here again, pause the game, and go and watch the current world record holder. This is a Dragon Percent run. At the time this world record was submitted, there wasn't really a category for bad ending. So you could it could be a little bit faster by doing the bad ending, but in this case, this is still the current world record in general in new game. There's no quicker run in new game, but it's been quite a while and no one has run it since then, which is why I think it's not the fastest approach to the new game run. So I paused this run at the time where we are right now. And the run uses the intended route of the game, at least the suggested one. The other one that we take also seems like it's intended by the developers, but not suggested to do. So you have to get into this inn here, talk as quickly as you can to this guy, and then proceed out towards the start of the town where you entered it. And note right here that I will later on jump through this gap in the wall here on the left side in order to avoid talking to this fella. This is a super annoying guy. It's Gregor. Gregor wants to escort you to the city, but it's kind of the other way around. And we need him in order to open a gate a little bit ahead of us up this path. And there's no way around this gate except the one that I will show you later. The thing is that we have to run there, and Gregor wants to fight every little tiny creature that we encounter on our way. And he just refuses to run up there with us, which takes way too much time, especially with the flying creatures like the harpies, because we don't really have good skills to fight harpies yet. So the best thing that you can do is shown here, to carry him all the way up there, which costs a lot of stamina. So you have to carry him past enemies, put him down or walk in order to replenish your stamina, pick him up again, and occasionally he will start to struggle in order to get down. You have to put him down before he finishes doing that. So when you see the animation that he starts to hit you on the back, he wants to get down, you put him down, pick him up directly after it. You can also throw him if you want to gain some distance between him and enemies. And otherwise you try to just go quickly past the enemies here. These harpies are super annoying. It's a good strategy to tell your pawns at this point to stop here, so they keep fighting the harpies, because the one thing that you want is to get Gregor away from enemies. Your pawns doesn't matter. If an enemy is aggro to you or to Gregor, then Gregor wants to run towards them. Even if you carry him all the way up to the gate, which is up here, if there's still an aggro, if there's some gnome or some harpy aggro to you or to Gregor, he will run all the way back to that creature and fight it. So it's really important to keep the aggro behind you and get yourself and Gregor as far away from the creatures as possible. And this is kinda RNG-y sometimes. Because sometimes he just gets aggroed and then you have to fight all the mobs down there, which costs a lot of time. But if everything works out, he will not be aggroed here. He will talk to this guy, and after this dialogue, this gate opens, and then you can leave him behind. Technically, you can carry him even more along this path, and at the end of this path, there's a Cyclops fight. And if he's present during that Cyclops fight and you kill the Cyclops, then he will spawn in an ox cart, which allows you to fast travel from that point to the city that you're supposed to go, where he will let you into the city. But it turns out that the mere fact that you have to carry him to that Cyclops and kill the Cyclops. The killing itself is pretty quick, but that still costs more time than just running to the city. And this you get into the city anyway. It doesn't really matter. It's the only sequence break in the game, really. So you can just put him down here and run all the way forward until you get to this bridge, where I will stop this recording because I will now show you a different route that kind of skips all that, but it isn't faster. So let's get back to the game. We instead will go here. Also through the front gate kinda of the city, but we will take we'll jump over here. Sometimes he's not there, like he isn't right now, so he wouldn't stop us going through the gate anyway, but it's also faster to go that route. Occasionally, or regularly, check that your pawns are right behind you by pressing 2 to keep them close, because you don't want them to stay behind, fight mobs and die. In NG+, we actually want our pawns to die. Actually, we don't want any pawns at all, but we have to have our main pawn. And the best thing that can happen to you in NG+ is to have your main pawn die. But they usually don't. In NG, however, we actually need our pawns. We like them. They help us fight mobs, because fighting mobs is the hardest part about NG runs, due to us being severely underpowered. And we also need 2 pawns later that steer a ballista for us. So our goal right now is to just run all the way back to that cave at the very start, at the point where I mentioned it, after we escaped from the slave camp, and enter that cave there, which is called Waterfall Cave. From this point here, we are in front of this checkpoint now. All the enemies despawned, so the group that was actually here is gone. And if you didn't fight those 3 goblins up here, they're also despawned. Oops. And we just can head up, trying to maximize our stamina usage up until we get to the entrance of the cave. Put on your light, and if you're unsure where to go in this cave, always go left. So we go left here. You don't have to put much effort into not hitting those. That just happens. Don't bother, just follow. Just go ahead. Make sure your pawns are following you. It's a bit clunky here. The floor is a bit weird, like in most parts of caves in the game. Again, we go left here. Follow ahead. There's another sleeping lizard dude here. And we can just skip ahead till we get to this crease in the floor, where we jump over. And after this part, there's a pit here. You just move towards the left wall. Do your regular movement. As long as you move towards the left wall, you don't fall down this pit or have any weird getting stuck issues. And at this point, you see in the upper left, we skipped this quest. Oh, damn, I forgot to re-enable the timer, which I think also broke the split, because it would have skipped if we wouldn't have been paused. So I already messed up the timer, but I was pretty sure that I would do that anyway. So our goal now is to get down. This is where we stopped the other recording, right? This is the bridge down there. We want to get down there quickly and safely. Oddly enough, this is easier if we first get up. Get on this ledge, and then we want to slide down here quickly, but without taking much damage. It's hard to do it consistently, but it usually works out kinda okay-ish. Just try to not get damaged here. And then we just follow the path that the other route would have also taken. towards that Cyclops that I mentioned earlier. Just ignore all the mobs here. Make sure you have a little bit of stamina always left in case you, like at the points where you run into groups of mobs. And then use the biting wind movement to get away from them quicker. Especially the harpies can follow you for quite a while, but it shouldn't pose a problem. Just keep moving and keep pressing 2 regularly to have your pawns stick to you. By the way, this movement here, so just repeatedly pressing right click, makes you surprisingly invulnerable. Oh, by the way. We are still being followed, so we cannot pick up another pawn. I try to pick up a third pawn on our way here, usually. You can also go to one of the rift stones. Throw that explosive barrel in that pile of rocks there, which flushes away like this barricade and also the Cyclops in front of it. Sometimes he dies, sometimes he doesn't. I don't know if he's... No, he's not dead. He's just chilling. We don't fight him. We just carry on towards the Vernworth city, which is our goal. Nothing too fancy here. It's actually quite boring, this route towards the city. So there's also a strat where you can get, like in Bathal, you can get arrested to get brought to the jail in Bathal and basically teleport for free by doing that. It seems that this doesn't work with these guys. I tried to attack those and get carried to the jail in Vernworth, but it seems like they don't want to arrest you, they just kill you, which is unfortunate. We don't follow the route down here, we take this shortcut down here over those protrusions or ledges, which allows us to like skip quite a bit of road down here. There's always a group of mobs right here. Usually it's wolves, this time it's harpies. They're both pretty annoying. Wolves can pin you down for a very long time and easily kill you. Make sure you have, when you go to that position, no matter what enemy is there. Oh, I messed up stamina. Try to have stamina left when you get there so you can quickly move past the wolves or harpies at that point. The rest is pretty boring.
Caution is called for when crossing any bridge, regardless of its merit.
It seems safe enough, at least.
Really nice.
There's a bigger mini boss here. So I always make sure I have some stamina left here, but otherwise just the usual forward dashing. Unfortunately, you also auto-aim towards livestock or just friendly, peaceful creatures. And also, I keep forgetting, I usually do NG plus runs where you have like stamina potions, so and I have the volume very low so I don't hear him gasping for air. So this will probably happen quite a few more times. Yeah, you also auto-aim against explosive barrels, which can be really annoying in the cave sections later on, because you take quite a lot of damage when you hit an explosive barrel. And also bridge at bridges the
If you refer to changes in the military's makeup, I've heard the same.
like the things that hold them. Forgot what they're called. You can also auto-aim against those, but this is not much of an issue. If you don't hit them too often, then you destroy the bridge. So this guy wants to see our entry permit. We don't have any, so we just press escape, skip it, run into anyways, and then get stopped, and then we get the same cutscene that we would anyway. By the way, between 14 and 15 minutes is where you would get here in a normal run. It's a quite okay time. In this dialogue, make sure you pick the second option here, enough of this farce. And then just skip cutscene and dialogue.
The assassination of the thus. Following that, however, I should.
As soon as this dialogue is done, we get a split.
This one's cleared of horses.
Now, and for some reason I broke the auto splitter by pausing. It's not good, so it would be here now. Once you get out here, make sure that in this coming up dialogue you pick the you don't lie, you tell the truth.
You there? Did you see her? What you've been hired, eh?
Because lying and helping the boy makes you starts like a dialogue with the boy afterwards, which just takes too long. So it's already late enough. This isn't necessarily the case. In this case, we can actually already grab him here. He's on his way here. He might not be here at all. If he's here, you carry him out to this balcony, and then you can just talk to him. Otherwise, you would have to talk to him. Then he goes over to this table, and then you can talk to him. Which just you don't want to wait for that. Just carry him to the balcony right away. You tell him of, or let him tell you of monster culling to start the monster culling quest. And then you have to talk to him again. Tell me of the Queen Regent to also start the other quest. So, okay, what to do if he's not in the pub yet because it's too early, which will happen a lot if you're like quick and don't waste time too much like I did, then this will be the case. The thing is that I suggest the first 2 missions, or let me start differently. We have to do 4 missions. We have to do the 2 missions where you break into the castle at night. We have to do monster culling, which you actually see on the pause screen here. There are these 3 locations where you have to fight mobs. You don't want to do the eastern one at night. I will come to that later. And then after we have done those 3 quests, we have to do the coronation quest where we have to get into the castle with fancy clothes. And this is basically just skipping a few cutscenes. These are the only 4 tasks that are mandatory. When you look into the wikis for this game, they will tell you otherwise, but they are lying. There's only 4 required quests. And before we do the coronation, the 4th one, we also want to get our Wormslife crystals that we need later on. And for that, we will get back to Melville, where we just came from, using an ox cart. You have to do that before the coronation quest. But again, more about that later. In any case, you can basically switch up these quests however you like. Find your best way to do them. I like to do the 2 night quests in the castle together during one night, which is possible if you start at break of nightfall. We are not yet there, so we use the time to do what we have to do anyway sometime during this run, which is to get a few fairy stones. There's one here behind the inn.
Stone's throw from here.
You jump up here.
I can guide you there
Here.
if you wish.
Over to the other balcony, and around the corner there's our first. Quickest way down here is just jump over there. Over here. And here's a second one, which is jump over here. Sometimes you don't get this first time, then you have to... Let's see if I can do this. Let's just jump over here. It looks like this. And then you just jump up and press forward, and then you grab here, in case you didn't make it in one jump over here. And after that you do this short Assassin's Creed stuff over here. Fall down to our left right here, and then you can jump down and grab this fairy stone. You might want to skip this. This is the longest one to get. But I tend to take this. You can also shop for fairy stones later, and maybe you don't need this one. Figure this out for yourself. Fairy stone management is kinda a routing choice that is up to you. And And now what I like to do is I actually like to sleep until nightfall. This other runners do not do this. This is super optional.
A good sleep will ensure we
This just resets the time to a point that I know that my time management works. And we want to get into the second floor of this in any way. So you can do this. It doesn't really cost a lot of time to sleep for a night here. And it also heals you in case you lost health. I also picked up a camping kit right there. Keep that in mind. I will not use it, but I will show you what you can do with it later on. So keep in mind that it just is there for free. And then you can climb up here, jump over that, pick up a Seeker's token up here, and a fairy stone here. And you can also grab stuff from the other chest to sell if in case you want to sell stuff for more money later on. The Seeker's token, the first Seeker's token that you hand in also gives you a fairy stone, which is why we want to pick that up. And very important, you also want to activate this port crystal. And this is where we start doing our castle missions. I hope I didn't waste too much time because the time management during this night, if you want to do both quests, is actually kind of narrow. So get up here.
Follow me.
No, we don't follow her. Both these quests are kind of framed as stealth quests. They're absolutely not. You can just run into here and don't bother about anyone else. And just, yeah, don't make any effort being quiet or something. And as soon as you get the costume in here, which you need to pick up, go in here and pick up this Cordley tunic. You can also put it on. If you have it on, the guards are even less suspicious of you. We need it later for the fourth quest. Then run in here and pick up this piece of leather and start this cutscene. So after this cutscene, you can go outside and use a fairy stone to get back into the city to hand in this quest. I tend not to do this because there's just better usage for the very limited amount of fairy stones that we have. So I just tend to run back from here. For the second mission, right after this, when we do the exact same things, because the writers of this game are just so creative, I will actually use a fairy stone to teleport back though, because there's a forced dialogue with the prostitute that you can romance in this game in case you run back to the city from there. So you can skip that dialogue by teleporting back to the port crystal. So we go back here. You can go left or right in order to get here. When you talk to him, then carry him to the table and start a dialogue handing in your mission. Because once you talk to him, he will start this phase where he goes over to the table and stays here. And this makes it easier when you get back to talk to him after the next mission. So sit down, wait for one cycle in order for him to have the next quest ready for you. You talk to him about Allot, and this starts the second castle quest. So now we do the second mission, which is again exactly the same as the first one. Hooray! I don't know why they made one of the very few main quests exactly the same and right after another. It's really bad design choice, but we're not talking about design, but we're talking about speedrun. This time it's too late. You cannot take the front entrance anymore. You have to take the back entrance that you were supposed to take in the first mission as well. And this time we're actually forced to do this. So we go over here. In here, you can pick up stuff in this crate to sell. But that's optional. And you want these two guards to be here. If they are gone, you are too late. You can still be too late if they're here, but them not being here is a perfect indicator that the day broke. And then when this cutscene does not start, you also know that you're too late because you cannot enter this chamber. The idea when you run this run casually, or this game, is to wait outside until they go outside, but you can just rush in here and grab this shit. They don't care. As soon as you get out of this chamber, there's a cutscene, which is the exact same content-wise as the other one. Run out here, don't jump, just run towards the window. And once you are outside, take a ferry stone back to Fernworth. At this point, you can hand in your quests, but you don't have to, because we can also first do monster culling later and hand in the other stuff later. You can also this point go here and hand in your seeker token and acquire skills, or you can do it after the dragon that we will do after this. So we hand in our fairy stone, seeker's token, get a fairy stone. We can also acquire skills if we have enough DCP yet. We don't. I really suggest that you get Shadow Cloak, but it's not as helpful as it is in NG Plus, where you get the upgraded version. But at this point, we are too bad anyway. So in this run, probably you would do it after the dragon that we are about to kill now. And you can also go shopping if you want to, but I suggest you also do this later when you go acquire your skills. So, quests. I already mentioned earlier, let me quickly pause. I already mentioned earlier that I suggest not doing this Eastern mission of the monster culling quest at night. And the reason for that is that sorry, microphone in the way. The reason is that the quest is here, and here on this bridge at night there's a very high chance that one of those necromancer ghost thingies spawn, and they are too close to the area where you have to fight a few goblins and lizard folk and whatever. So if they are there, you're kind of screwed, or you run rather. So that is a reset reason, which is why I highly recommend going here at daytime. The other two, which is Trevo Mine, which would be around up here, and Harvey around here. It doesn't really matter if you go at night or daytime there, because like any spawns of these mini bosses are too far away for you to care. I also mentioned that we have to do we have to get Worm's Life crystals, and for that there are three options. One is to actually go shopping. There's a merchant which always walks from here, but you never encounter her here. She walks from here down this road towards Melve. When you like, for example, wait for an ox cart and you run out of the city, you will encounter her roughly around here. And the thing is that you can go to her shopping for Worm's Life crystals when you have enough money. You need to sell stuff to get money, and basically it's on your way to go to this mission. So you can like take this route by here, then follow down here and around here to fight these mobs. But then you still need to buy Worm's Life crystals at her a few more times, and she sells like 2 or 3 Worm's Life crystals, and it resets after a few days. So what the best thing that you can do is you can wait here at the ox cart station a few days and then go shopping, then wait again, then go shopping until you have enough. This sounds super long, but it actually is a surprisingly good tactic. Not the best in my opinion, but it works. And there's also a chance that if you carry her here, I put her next to the ox cart sign and you wait at the ox cart sign, then she stays there when she's like in vision, when in the view. When you look at her and then use the ox cart sign, she might stay there, which allows for fast resetting of your inventory, then buy, fast reset. And this is quite fast, but it's super unreliable. So sometimes she just teleports back to her position around here, and then you have to run down there and waste a lot of time. This is the worst option. And then there's 2 more options, which is to kill drakes. You're massively underpowered, so you can't really kill drakes. But there are 2 ways to deal with that, and that is drakes that you can kill with ballistas. One of them is at Melve, where we just came from, the first city. There's a ballista, and we will actually use that because I think for bad ending runs it is the best choice. It drops 10 Worm's-Life crystals, and then you can buy 5 more later at the Dragon Forged down here to get the 15 that you need for the run. If you do a Dragon % run, you need, I think, 8 more to buy an unmaking arrow. And in order to do that, you need more Worm's-Life crystals, of course. In that case, the second drake is a better one, which is around here in Checkpoint Town. You run down here to the battlegrounds, which are here, and you kill the dragon there. I will show you that straight later on. Not now. Now, because we are at night time and we would have to wait for day to break or daylight to break anyway to get to do these monster culling quests down here. I will now just wait at the ox cart station and drive to Melva to kill the dragon. Again, the order in which you do all the stuff is up to you. Figure out your best way to do it. This is just my suggestion for how to start approaching this run. Okay. So we resume the timer. We want to wait at the station. Right next to the station at daytime is like a salesman who wants to talk to you for some mission in Melve. Sometimes you can't avoid talking to him. It's just how it is. Just talk to the man. And maybe you're lucky, and if you... I couldn't avoid him. Sometimes you can just run into the ox cart and then he gets stuck running towards you and doesn't talk to you. But in this case, we are unfortunate. So sit down, pay the man for your ride, and then press escape and do a save, because you can get ambushed and then we want to reload. If you get ambushed too much, you have to reset because your run is screwed. So there's this wait time until you can doze off, which is now. When you reload, there is no such wait time. So we were unlucky, we were ambushed. There's unfortunately no spot on this route up to Melve where we can get ambushed, which isn't way too far away. So the only thing that we can do in this case is reload and hope that we get more lucky after that. There seem to be like fixed points where you get ambushed. The other ox cart rides that we have to do, we can get more lucky and actually get ambushed at a point which makes more sense for us. But in this case, there's just no alternative. So second time we were lucky, we're in the city. There's the dragon to our left there. We ignore him, skip this cutscene. Now Ulrika is talking, as you see at the bottom. As long as she's talking, your pawns are blocked. They can't move for some reason. Seems to be a bug. But you want them close to you, unfortunately. So as soon as you can, tell them to teleport to you by pressing 2. And then run up here. And unfortunately, they take a while to get up to speed. And you want them to help you move the ballista up here. So if you didn't know, your pawns actually move the ballista for you when you are at the helm, basically at the trigger. But since they're not here yet, we do a little bit of that movement ourselves. The horizontal one is the longer one. Now they're here and they should help us. You can also press 3 to tell them to help you, but it's not necessary. With the if they help you, you can move quicker using the keyboard, K and J keys, than with your mouse. So use these keys, K, L, J, to move the ballista, and aim here. And now I need to talk about this dragon. Okay, so the thing is, you need to hit this dragon twice in order to kill it. It is coded in such a way that if it gets damaged too much, it tries to flee. So you're not supposed to kill it actually at this point, because you don't deal enough damage to keep it in place. And the first ballista shot already does enough damage to trigger that escape. The point is that recharging the ballista for the second shot takes a long time, and it actually already starts flying away while you charge up your second shot. And then you either have to hit it with a not fully charged shot, which is high risk, or you have to hit it while it's pretty close already to you, flying past you. Both of those are extremely high risk, and if the Drake gets away without you killing him, then your run is over. So what most runners do, or actually all of them, is to do a strat where we hit the Drake while it is hovering or levitating above ground and attacking, doing this like fire attack on the soldiers down there. When you hit it in air while hovering, it like falls down and it gets stunned for way longer, enough for you to recharge your second shot, and most of the time it doesn't even trigger the escape thing, so it just keeps fighting against the soldiers down there. But in any case, you have enough time for a second shot, and it's also sometimes easy not to do full damage when you hit it on the ground, so my suggestion is to always only hit it mid-air, which, depending on your timing and the cycle of the Drake, might mean that you have to wait quite a while for it to get to hover again. It hovers like every, I don't know, 20 seconds or something. So you might be unlucky with the timing here, but it's, in my opinion, it's way smarter to wait for it to hover than to risk your entire run on it getting away. So you recharge your shot. You actually want to do it while your pawns are moving it, and then you want to aim around the height of this wall here. Where's this gap? And when you're fully charged and it's hovering, you can shoot it at center mass in order to maximize your probability of it hitting. It does this wing spanning thing, like moving the wings up right before it starts jumping up, and you see now it is like stunned on the ground, which is what happens when you hit it mid-air with the ballista. And now you have a lot of time to charge up and wait for it to hover again around the height of this wall here. Where's this round gap? And now it starts moving again, and we hit it a second time and is dead. At which point a small cutscene starts, or rather dialogue with Ulrika, and you want to avoid talking to the guy next to you because he wants to talk to you about his fighting skills, and we don't want to do that. We want to get the 10 Worm's Life crystals. It's important that you get 10, not only 5. So keep hitting loot, the loot button, the use button, until you have 10. And then go ahead to run with. So it seems that I completely messed up the timer. Sorry for that. I just forget unpausing it. So at this point it's kind of pointless, I guess. But yeah, we have it running from now on. So now we have more DCP thanks to that dragon. Should have enough now to acquire skills. Like I said, I'd like to take Shadow Cloak. I will explain to you later why, and it might not even be that helpful. You can also take Enkindle Blades to do more damage, which might also help. And you can also like attack more enemies on the way to just get more DCP. You can also sell stuff, like the armor that we picked up, the dragon scale that you picked up, silver rapier, or in order to buy fairy stone. You can even buy one more. He resets after like 3 days. And as much as you can of those health potions,
Many thanks.
which we can afford all of them, fortunately. And now we can start doing monster culling, which is the quest that takes the longest. So it should be like, it feels like half of the run, especially in NG Plus. It basically is half of the run. It's just doing monster culling. We start with the Eastern mission. Oh, that griffin is actually rarely there during the run. It brings you right to a port crystal if you ride it on its back. It's a weird tactic. Basically no one ever uses it, but technically it's possible to get a second port crystal that way. And in casual runs you should definitely ride it as early as you can to get to the Sphinx and get 2 port crystals that way. We, however, go here, jump up that route. Oh, by the way, I earlier showed you the route that takes you across the merchant, which is around, now you see the cursor, which would be around here. We have just taken the route where we jumped down out of the front gate and we went around here. We are here right now. And we want to go this route over to this bridge. You can also, if you teleport to the port crystal and don't go shopping, you are around here. You can also run down here, take the way through the slums and land on the same road and get to where we are right now. Back to the game. Once up here, you want to get down there. Jump down here so you don't get stunned because you fell too deep. And a safe way to get down here is to jump down there because you get into a slide animation that cancels any fall damage. Jump down there. Go ahead. Press 2 to have your pawn stick close to you. They will just teleport down here somewhere. And follow the road along here. You can just cut straight through. Don't have to exactly follow the path. I think this is roughly the optimal route. And then there are these 2 bridges here. You want to go over here. This is where the necromancer ghost thingy would spawn at night. And over here you have to fight enemies. The fights in monster culling are quite hard because you're severely underpowered. Make sure you use your pawn that heals you. And try not to die, which might be quite hard. Move a lot, only hit for like a few times and then try not to run out of stamina like I just did. And try not to hit one enemy too long because then you get attacked by everyone else. Using the forward dash attack allows you to... we will not have time to rescue our pawns, it seems. This is why you get health potions. And we might still be fucked now. Yeah, nice. Thanks. Infinitely getting stunned is something enemies like to do in NG runs. So this is kind of the worst outcome now. Completely messed up this fight. But it's also kind of a function of how quickly your pawns die. And you see your max health, it decreases rapidly and it's basically a completely shit show. I will... I will use the Wake Stone now. It's really, really handy in this run. But in this case, for demonstration purposes, I will just use it now so I don't have to reload. Which is really unfortunate. I can show you how to use it to save a lot of time later on. Unfortunately, my pawns aren't really the most useful, it seems. And we weren't even healed once by our main pawn, which is also kind of sad. But that's it, that's the quest. As soon as on the minimap the yellow area disappears, you have officially done the quest and you can teleport away. Let me quickly show you one thing though. We are around here. And there is the Nameless Village. For a very long time, until very recently, we used to go to the Nameless Village to get the Feint Meister skill. If you have played Thief in casual, and you did like the main quest line, which also brings you to the Nameless Village, and you got this Meister skill, you know that it is absolutely OP. It basically makes the game pointless because you're invincible once you get it. And together with the other skill that you get here, the other Meister skill, you can like you can explode yourself and you don't get damaged because of Feint. So you're basically a walking explosive barrel, which is the heaviest attack in the game, and also a skill that makes you invincible. So the game is really, really pointless once you do this. And of course, in a run that is heavily influenced by how hard the fights get, as you have seen just now, I basically messed up and it's really easy to die. It's actually a valid strategy to, from here, go down here, up there, around up here. So this road is blocked, you cannot take it. So you go around here, past the campfire, and you go to the Nameless Village. You don't have to talk to anyone, just jump down next to it into the hole next to the church. Do the jump and run section down there and talk to the guy at the end, and he gives you the Meister skill with Feint, and you can take Feint, which makes the rest of the run quite easy fight-wise. And also, if you use Feint, it costs stamina, but it makes everything else faster. Your movement is faster, running itself and doing like the forward dashing animations and things like that. So you don't lose as much time as you think doing this detour to the Nameless Village, because you make up for it while doing all the running and the rest of the run by just being faster. And it wasn't actually that clear if it actually loses time to go to the Nameless Village. But nowadays we are pretty sure that it does waste time. And it's better time-wise to do the rest of the run without it, but it makes it substantially harder, especially if you don't have much practice with the fights that are coming up. And the one that I just did is not the hardest one. The hardest one is in Harvey. So if you start running, feel free to go to the Nameless Village and get Feint. It definitely makes for easier first runs. And then you can still optimize because then you know how the run feels, and then you have an idea of how to do the run without Feint. Okay, let me take a sip of water. And let's get back into the game. So we resume the timer, even though it's kind of pointless at this point. And we teleport back to Wernworth, because as you remember, that monster calling quest in the east was the only monster calling quest in the east, and we have to go west now, so it's faster to go back to Wernworth using the port crystal and go out through this entrance. We will actually take a small detour. Well, it's not really a detour, but we take an alternative path to the Trevor Mine and enter the Trevor Mine through its back entrance, which is right where the enemies are that we are supposed to kill. We will, however, exit that cave after that fight through the intended entrance path, because it is just the fastest way to the third mob that we have to kill down in Harvey. So this is just a lot of movement. Try to stick close to the left side here so you don't have to deal with all the creatures on the way here. Just go stick to this cliff always. And then we get to an area where there's like a mill or something like that, like a building on top of a small hill, and we want to get up there. And I keep forgetting what the good way is up there.
Here we go again.
It might be here. Getting attacked obviously doesn't make it easier.
Are your lead?
They are super annoying. Harpies are the worst in this game. Oh, come on, don't tell me I should actually have looked up how to get quickly up here. I never run NG because it sucks. Okay, so you want to get to these stairs somehow. Figure out how to do it in a non-stupid way, not like I did. And then follow this path down here. We want to get past these guys. They're usually here. They're not friendly. And get up here on this ridge. Could have picked up a third pawn there. Figure, I don't know if we're still aggroed. We probably are. Jump up here. And there's a back entrance there, down there. We used to take that. You can get up there using concussive leap. And there's another entrance, which is this hole, which is right above
On another note, looking upon our
and very
party,
deep.
I noticed that
So you
none of
don't
us
want to
are
fall
fighting.
down here. You can get down here quickly by using a wake stone, but we just wasted that by dying in the mission before. It is actually a good use. Just jump down here, die, and revive yourself. It's faster than going down here manually. And then at the end, usually half of the enemies here are already dead because you're stuck around the environment. And the NPCs here spawn as soon as you're kind of close to this area outside. And already start killing mobs. You can also, once there are only 1 or 2 left of these, you can already start just don't caring about it. Let the NPCs fight and pick up these daggers, which are better than the ones you have. And there's also a big guy somewhere here.
That was superb, Arisen.
Oh, by the way, you often lose your pawns here because of falling damage. They just jump down. But somewhere around here, there's a big guy that they killed there. This fella, he has a fairy stone. And there's one up there in that chest that you can get if you want to. So get over here. They usually die here, and you can reach them here. So you revive them. Tell them to stick close to you. Ignore the enemies because we done our mission. And run the entrance towards the entrance, which is around this way. Sometimes in this cave it's better to actually run normally, because it's easier to avoid getting thrown at by the fire things. Do like this, like run like a rabbit, like in Hooks or whatever it's called. And try to get past here. Also upcoming in this area, just do normal running, because there's an explosive barrel here and you would auto trigger that. Auto aim at that and then explode yourself, which is not smart. And once you're out here, you can just move normally again. This look kind of smooth. It absolutely isn't usually. You quite often get hit by a Molotov or whatever this is. This fire attack by the goblins, which stuns you for quite a while. You can get a lot of damage. You can self-explode yourself with some barrel. It's quite easy to not get out of that cave smoothly, but in this case, for once we were lucky in this run, which is a change I welcome. So get down here. The fastest route is through this riverbed. And now we are pretty free of any followers, so there's no mobs annoying here. Keep a little bit of stamina here, and then you want to jump down here, and the cutscene saves us from drowning here, actually, and allows us to cross over to this village through the sea without dying, which we would usually do if there's no cutscene. It's a little bit faster. Once here, you can go directly down into the cave, or you go there first. The order doesn't matter. If you do the cave first, then you go here after that. In NG Plus, I tend to do the cave first. In NG, I tend to do this first, because you can grab something here to heal. And there's a fairy stone here, which is also quite handy. We get another one down in that cave. Down in that cave is the hardest fight, because the lizard creatures are quite hard. They're very overpowered at the current state of our character. The trick is to attack them from behind. So once they lose their tail, which is their weak spot, they get substantially more damage and do way less damage. So you want to get behind them, which is not that easy, because also the camera movement is annoying as fuck. And really make sure you don't get hit by them. So this one really wants to avoid us hitting his tail. And our pawns are extremely useless again. We've really got a bad set. You see, now he loses his tail, and now he's basically super easy to kill. So that's what you want to do. Ideally, you want to have them attack NPCs or your pawns. And you just make sure that you don't get hit too much. Once they hit you and down you, they can also infinitely stun you on the floor. I have to concentrate a bit, sorry. This fight is really way harder than it looks. And another alternative is to throw creatures. You can throw your pawns, or if one of them is on the floor, dead or stunned, you can pick them up and throw them at the other enemies, which does quite a lot of damage, and it's actually a fine strat. You can see it done in the world record. I tend not to do it that way. I feel more confident when I practice a little bit to actually fight them quite quickly. It takes the same amount of time, but it requires like very precise movement to get behind them, and you get a feel for fighting these. Don't worry, it will be super hard at the beginning. You will die here a lot, and when you die, you respawn with less health, and it makes it even harder to fight them. It can be quite frustrating, but don't worry, you can like call your pawns and have them do more work than I do now. Like be more of a bystander and just from time to time just run into here. Do a little bit of damage and directly move out. Just don't spend a lot of time at one place. Always have a look out for your... I accidentally disabled my light. Just the worst that can happen to you is to lose your stamina. Make sure that never happens, and always keep an eye on the other lizards around you. When they start their attack animation, don't be where you are right now. So our pawns again are not the most useful. And there's the tail gun. Don't be greedy. I could have kept fighting this guy on the floor, but there's another one still alive, and that means he will attack me. He will as soon as you attack one of them too many times. They will just stop fighting your pawns and concentrate on you. They will focus you if you do too much damage. So always make sure that you don't get greedy. So is there one left? You also want to avoid talking to that guy once they're dead, because he will give you a quest to escort him outside, and that will spawn more enemies. You just want to run away. As soon as the yellow area on the minimap disappears, this quest is done, which is now. There's a health potion here on the floor, and you will take this route outside, not the one that you came from. You can also take this inside, like on the way in, but it doesn't really save much time, and it requires you to have either concussive step or some other skill that allows you to jump higher. And there's a chest here with a fairy stone, which is why we took this path outside. Otherwise it's not really necessarily faster. So this was quite smooth. It will definitely not look that way most of the time. And this is a good point for a reset in the run. I reset way too many times in that fight, and it can be quite frustrating again. You have to talk to these folks. We already did the activation of the fairy stone there and got our stuff, so we can teleport back to Vernworth. It's important to activate the Harvey Village port crystal, because we need to return here later.
We've made it.
But for now, we did all our quests, we got our Wormslave crystals, we are actually very well prepared. Everything was quite smooth, given the circumstances, and me messing up a little bit.
Greetings, Your Majesty.
Again, talk to him. Maybe in this case you can just grab him without talking to him. And hand in all your quests. So, tell me of monster culling. Handing in items you can just do by spamming the skip dialogue button. And once you did that, you can again talk to him, which should just start a small dialogue that instantly ends. Talk to him again. Make sure to pick coronation. It's easy to accidentally pick the first option there. And start the coronation quest, which is just a bunch of, actually 2 cutscenes, which follow now. And after these cutscenes, you can no longer kill the Malvo Dragon. Just keep that in mind, so you don't lock yourself out of that mission in case you didn't do it yet. Or rather, that fight.
We've been had.
And the coronation quest that always ends, or does seem to end at the exact same time of the day, so you always end up around evening here. Wait once on this bench. Talk to the fella again. Talk about coronation, and that concludes all the quests that we have to do in Vernworth. You get your entry permit and you get the very important port crystal. We ideally want to have like 5 of those, but in NG we're only allowed 1. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to get to Bethal. And for that, the quickest way, so give me a second. The quickest way is actually to take the ox cart that we will do now. There's another route which requires you to, where are we? This is Vernworth, this is Harvey, we have just been there. You can run out here over that bridge, which is now finished. And here there's a dragon. You can run in here and take the Guaco, I think, mine. Which is quite hard to as a passage because it's very narrow with a lot of enemies in there. It's easy to die here. Your pawns will 100% die here and never got them through alive. But we don't need our pawns anymore. They don't matter. So in that case, you can go through here and you end up at the Dragon Forge down at the beach where we have to get to anyway later. So that is actually one strat. But and we used to do this route because this route here through Bethal is just as long, but there's a shortcut which is to get arrested in Bethal in order to get brought to the prison, which is here. And it's right where we want to be, or it's here, and it's right where we want to be in Bethal. So that is just way faster. The arrested thread is the meta since we discovered it, or actually some guy on YouTube discovered it. That is unfortunately not in the Discord. But let's go ahead. So there's another RNG Oxcart run. The Oxcart runs are really what makes this run annoying. The NG run especially, because we have to reload once we get ambushed in unfortunate places. There's a few places in this where it's okay for us to get ambushed because we're kind of close enough and can just deal with a little bit of extra time. But I save here nonetheless and just hope for a good ride. Also, when you get ambushed, it's at nighttime, so that might screw things up because of the time. In this case, we are at the travel mine where we were earlier, which is way too far away from the checkpoint town. So this is actually the worst ambush spot. I think you can't get further away from where you want to go. So we load again. This is like the 4th or 5th attempt that I tried to record this guide, and I've only been lucky once. and I had to reload quite a few times to even get remotely close to a point where there was a point in running the rest of the way. I hope this time we get a little bit more lucky. But then again, we might run now. Yeah, let's run, come on. So actually in a run you would reset here. This is too far away. I can show you an ambush spot that is also quite often the case. That is absolutely okay to get ambushed at, but this is not it. This is actually quite a common spot that we just get ambushed. And it's still quite far away from our goal, as you will see now, because we were on there. Again, I like press 2 to keep my pawns close for just because I'm used to doing it. It's not necessary. Actually, there's a very common strat to throw them off a bridge here, which I will actually do now. This is where you can also get ambushed, and it's right around the corner of the checkpoint town, so that's totally fine. I'm gonna do a pause here. It's okay to throw your pawns down here. If you have multiple, you can throw all of them down. This might actually be smart, because right now they can only annoy you. You no longer have any fights. So all they do is be annoying, especially since there's one more fight right at the gate and we want to lose that one. Alright, so it's quite a few runners throw down pawns there. I usually don't if I only have my main pawn, because it's hard to get rid of him. But you can do it. And the reason why I paused here and not just continued running is because I want to show you the different strat for getting the Worm's Life crystals now, which is a very good strat when you want to do a Dragon percent run, because that Drake usually gives you 15 Worm's Life crystals. So we get back to YouTube. In this case, we look at the wonderful run. It's Corpsey just did quite, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago in Australia. An Australian speedrun, or speedruns. Actually don't know this event, but it's I looked through it, it's quite nice. And it's Cropsy actually presented the NG Dragon percent run here. And he did the other strat. And this is mostly because it gives you more Worm's Life crystals, but some runners also prefer to do it over the Malva Dragon in general. But this run, because it is a marathon run, so of course he didn't get lucky. In fact, he got the exact opposite and was very unlucky. And this shows why I don't like this Drake, if you can avoid it, because it can get pretty weird. But it works like this. You run up here, and remember that at this point we got a port crystal. You can pick those up. So the idea here is to go to the bridge, or roughly near to it, put down a port crystal so you can teleport here later on. And then you can you run back a little bit of this path. In general, feel free to, or I rather recommend looking at this run, because it's a good example of how to do a marathon run with all the things that can go bad and how to deal with that. It's actually a fun run. I actually love the commentary, and man, he got unlucky. Like really unlucky. But yeah, you run back here. And you leave the path at that curve, go down here, these are all these creatures that like disguise as stones and then roll towards you and stun you. Make sure you get past them without getting stunned, and then you follow down into like that skipped too much, sorry. You go down into like this forest area, leave it on through the left pathway there. Oh, it's actually more like straight ahead, slightly to the left, and right here you can take directly the left path. It's easy to miss, to go around these two guys. So there's like Godzilla and a dragon fighting. Actually it's a Cyclops or something like that, and they are not bothered by you because they're kind of busy killing each other. And this is another dragon that you can fight using ballistas, but there's a catch. This guy can just like make lightning rain on you, and they are coded like when you attack them with a ballista, they are coded when they aggro you to destroy the ballistas, and this is super easy for them to do. So that means it sucks for you, and there's a way around that. So first of all, it seems that when you use the ballista and shoot at them and then leave the ballista and wait for them to attack you once, they often tend to de-aggro you and don't attack you a second time. You can also, after you do that, let's quickly look at that because he does it right now. So you use the ballista here, and you again, you can use your pawns if you still have them left to do this part for you, but in this case he has to do it manually. And once you shoot at them, leave the ballista, wait for them to attack you in order not to destroy this ballista, and then they often de-aggro and you can shoot a second time. Also, quite often a lot of runners, after they get attacked by lightning, they save and reload the save, because like loading a save tend to improve the odds of the dragon de-aggroing you. But I still had occasions where I did this strat and the dragon just shot at me a second time with the lightning and destroyed the ballista, and then the run is gone, which is why I really don't like this strat. But there's something worse that it can happen to you. First of all, when you don't have pawns, you see what happens when you don't have pawns is no one is helping you to move your ballista. So you have to move it yourself, or you have to hope that the dragon gets into your crosshair, which is now the case. And now you have to leave and wait for the lightning attack, which happens now. And then you can attack the second time. And now what happens is the worst case scenario for a marathon run. The dragon, it keeps fighting against that Cyclops, and it just can move outside of your range. So if it gets closer to you now, this is okay, right? But he's still recharging, and now the dragon, it gets closer to the castle because the fight just randomly moves there. And then there's a possibility that you simply cannot attack it anymore because you cannot aim any lower than this. And this is really unfortunate. And like in a speedrun, this completely ruins your time, right? So he even does like a backup strat where he runs over to the second ballista, which is over here. This again involves a lot of moving, and there's also enemies behind you that can attack you at this point. Sometimes when you run over here, this gets also destroyed by lightning, as he does right now, so this is really the worst case scenario. But yeah, I find this fight against the dragon, it can get super fast, it's on your way to Bethal, but it can get extremely random and inconsistent, and I would highly recommend to do the Malvis strat. But if you do a Dragon percent run, you need 8 more Worm's Life crystals. You can pick up 1 or 2 that are just scattered on places, like in Harvard there's one. But if you do the Malva Dragon, then you have to buy at that merchant that I mentioned earlier to get the other 8. It can be done pretty quick, but it does lose more time than doing this Drake. So yeah, figure out what works for you. My main suggestion is to just not do Dragon percent runs. I don't understand why people do them, but obviously they are quite common, because the only 2 videos that I showed you here of other runners are Dragon percent runs. Anyway, I'm starting to mumble. Let's get back to the actual run, show you the rest of it. It gets kind of way easier now. There's one more thing that can happen to us, which will probably happen, which is super annoying at the beach. But apart from that, the run gets substantially easier now. There's a cutscene here. Once you pass that cutscene, if you have a pawn with you, tell him to stop and not follow you, because you want them as far away from you as possible when you run up here. Then you talk to the guard here. Sometimes, especially in NG+, you would take off your armor now. Actually, we can do this now. Let's do this. Talk to this guy. And there's a cutscene and then there's a dialogue. You hand him your permit. This is why you want the fur. And now you would tell your pawn again to stop following you because he would resume following you. And once you're over here, you attack the guards. And then get over to these guys as well, so they attack you as well. And try to jump while he rams you, which makes it easier for you to be on the floor because you want to get arrested as quick as possible. If they don't stun you on the ground, you have to wait for them to kill you, which is why I put off the armor, because we want to die as quickly as possible here to get to the jail. And the jail is very fortunately placed right where we want to go. There's a key in here. You get, I think for some quests you also get a key. Not sure about it. But you can also bribe the guard and lose half of your gold. Which is another possibility. It has the advantage that you keep your gear equipped. You get your gear back here anyway, but it's no longer equipped. So you would at least need to re-equip your weapon. And you can equip like the other stuff, but you don't have any fights anymore anyway. It's just weight. The ring is actually quite okay. And then you need to decide where you put your port crystal. This is a good place for your port crystal. We can, like, I tend to place it actually up here in NG. If you have multiple, you would place them actually at right at the entrance to the lab that we just passed. In this case, let's put it here. There's quite a lot of choices that kind of make sense. Figure out for yourself which works for you. But you only have one in NG, so you don't really, it's just, they're all pretty similar choices. So the next thing that we want to get to is towards the actual entrance of the city that you would actually take in a, if you don't take this shortcut to the jail. And there's, and there we need to talk to that lady at the pub outside in order to finish this quest that we are on right now. By the way, we kind of skipped, because of the pausing, I think, we skipped too many quests. Actually, we are at the Nation of the Lambent quest right now. So you get down here, try not to attack too many guards. You have been in jail and they are easier to aggro now. And when they actually aggro you, they prevent you from fast traveling, which is not a good idea. I didn't want to do that. Pick her up. It's faster than waiting for her to walk inside. Run in here, stop running so you don't smash her into the wall. Put her down here to instantly start the dialogue with her. And just pick like the pledge your aid option. If you would have, or you actually do have your port crystal down there, you can run outside here, take a fairy stone to that port crystal to get back quicker to where you have been. And now we run down to the beach, and there is a problem down at that beach. So we need to talk to Ambrosius, which is down there. And we have to give him like one of the blue crystals, or he asks us to bring him some of those. I don't know why this dialogue is here. In NG Plus it's not here. And the blue crystal is right next to him, so technically there's no problem. But on our way down there, we cross a group of harpies. And more importantly, we can get attacked by a griffin. And we cannot kill a griffin, so if that griffin attacks us, we have to de-aggro him or the run is dead. Actually, I think the run is kind of dead when he attacks. This is the reason why I prefer to take the Shadow Cloak skill, because it lessens the chance that they aggro you. But the first level that we have, not that we in NG Plus we have the extended version of the skill, it means that they probably still aggro us, and we just have to hope that this doesn't happen. And this is quite annoying. It's very easy to lose some time. As soon as you hear, try to pick up that as quickly as possible and start the dialogue with this guy over here. And once you got that, you're already fine. For the NG bad ending run, we are basically lucky now because we have done everything that we need to do without getting aggroed. Often now they still get attacked by harpies, and we as well. And this is a problem if you do a Dragon Percent run, because in a Dragon Percent run you need to buy an unmaking arrow over here at the Dragon Forged, and in order to talk to him to buy the unmaking arrow, again you need not to be aggroed. So this is really annoying getting attacked by these. Pick up those Wormslave crystals. So we got our 15 Wormslave crystals now. For Dragon Percent you would need 8 more in order to buy the unmaking arrow from him. In our case, since I want to do the bad ending, we're done here. Oh, by the way, the bad ending is also the fastest one. So it technically is in the truest sense the any percent category, because it will always be faster to the bad ending. And actually a lot of runners kinda do the bad ending, and if they get a bad time they hand it in as the Dragon Percent ending, because it can still be quicker than the current record for a Dragon Percent ending. At this point we can run back or we can teleport back. Let me quickly think if we got enough fairy stones. I think we do. We can buy one later if we don't. So in this case you would teleport to Bagbathar, because now we have to get to the Oracle. And the Oracle is a bit annoyingly placed. I'll talk about that in a minute. The best way to get there quickly is from here to go use the Ox card. In NG Plus we would actually teleport to the checkpoint town. The Ox card, if the Ox card does not get ambushed, you actually get to the checkpoint town, which amounts to the same, but usually you get ambushed, which is not the worst because you can get ambushed at a nice place. So, more precisely, if we look at the map again, sorry for all the little detours to my browser, but it's easier to show here. So we are in Bagbathar here, and the Oracle is here, and the checkpoint town is here. If you get to the checkpoint town, you run down here, you jump down here, which is a suicide jump. You need a wake stone for that, and we no longer have that because I messed up earlier. This is why I was so hesitant to use it and thought about just reloading. In this case, it's actually very bad if we don't get ambushed, because I actually don't know how to get down here safely. I'd rather reload. You can actually get ambushed here. This is not so often that happens. It's a bit rare. And this is ideal because you just run down here, and it's the quickest way to get to it's actually the fastest way that you can get to her. Quite often you will get ambushed around here, and then you just have to run this way up here. It's usually still faster than reloading and hoping for a better spot, because there's like between here and there's usually no spot here where you can get ambushed. Ambush spots are here, 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 then the perfect one, and then the success one, where you don't get ambushed. So you don't get ambushed at all. Alright, let's see what we get in the ambush lottery. Probably it's not a good time of the day. No, it isn't, so we have to wait for a good time of the day. Resume the timer, even though it's kind of pointless.
Do you suppose that was funny?
And again, once you paid, do a break to save. And wait for your chance to doze off. Which is now, and let's see what we get. Quite often it will be nighttime, which is totally fine. So this is as I've shown earlier. This should be around here, which is the best one, or not the best one, but it's like it doesn't get better unless you're lucky and get this one. So in this case I would actually run the way, but it's one of the one or two. It's quite often that you get this one and it's not a good one. Usually if you are quite far with practicing this run, this is a point where you would reset or try to reload, try one more lucky pick, maybe it's better, and if it's better you if it's not better you would just reset. In this case I will actually run there again. Wait, almost forgot to change the scene back to the game. Yeah, the routing around Bethal, you just have to get used to it. If you like, I don't know, played a few hundred hours of this game casually, you probably know every route along here. Otherwise, you will get used to the common ambush spots and the path it takes you to the quest. The next, you just learn it pretty quick. There's not many points where you can get ambushed, so it does look like it's easy to get lost here and figure out where to go, but it's actually quite simple. These folks here can be quite annoying. They have these auto-aiming arrows. Make sure you have enough stamina to run away from them, but don't waste too much because there's like the next bunch around the corner here. This is the best spot where you can get ambushed that I mentioned earlier. So you just get maybe one thing I want to show you. You know that you're at the right spot to go in when you see this W, these two weird roads that have these round shapes here. This is how I memorize the spot where I need to go, right? This is a road feature that I'm just very easy to figure out. And from here, it's just going orthogonal to the main road and just follow the road and you automatically get to the Oracle or Luz or whatever her name is. The ghost lady that actually sits on the roof in real. That also teaches you the trickster vocation. So once you get here, you usually get de-aggroed. I never had any creatures follow me here. It seems like you need to worry about it, but I guess you don't. Talk to her. Once you're done with that, run outside and teleport to Harvey. You will get another fairy stone in Harvey. So we had two now. We now use one and we get another one. So after Harvey we have again two. We have to teleport away from Harvey, which leaves us with one fairy stone after Harvey, which might just be the amount that we need, as you will see. There's also another chest where you can get one later and you can also buy one, which you probably should in this case if I count correctly. So skip the dialogue here, skip the cutscene, skip this dialogue, and there's a split. And now we have to get back down into the cave that we went in earlier during monster culling. And the best thing that you can do here, and it took me quite a while to figure out, is to just run. Do nothing else. Don't jump. Don't do any forward motion on any attack thing. Just run. Make sure you save a little bit of stamina in between. At points where you jump down anywhere, like here. And just run. You don't have weird camera movements, get stuck into walls, get attacked, get auto-aim at enemies. This is weird. This never happened to me. And even here, just run, don't jump. You will automatically jump down over him if you just run down that ledge. These guys, if you auto-aim at them, you get stunned because you hit them. Just run. Trust me, it's substantially faster than anything else you can do. And even here, just run, don't jump. I don't press space or something. You automatically jump when you're high enough. Here you can jump down and take the damage. It's actually faster than running down here. yeah, so I suggest you do that. I just want to show you the way if you don't jump down. There's a thing here, Panacea. It's one of those drinks that completely heal you and replenish your stamina, but it doesn't automatically get used when you press like the shortcut for healing. So it's actually not that much of a use, and I would suggest you not picking it up. But there's a very hard sequence at the end of the run. And especially if you start this run, you want all the healing that you can get for that, or use the alternative strat that I will show you later. So once we're done with this here, that's another quest done. It's 2 dialogue segments and 3 cutscenes. You can run back the way that you came. Again, just run, don't jump there. Or you can go this way, which is smarter because we get another fairy stone here. In NG+, however, it's actually faster to run back the way that you came in. Whenever you have these elevators here, the way you came in, just turn 90 degrees to the left, and that is where your exit will be. Because it's quite easy to lose track and it's quite dark sometimes, so you don't have to look for the exit, just turn 90 degrees left once you entered and you're set to go. So let's see, we have... I can't open the inventory while the elevator... You can do quite a lot of things that you could do, you cannot do when you're in an elevator. You can also not pick up your pawns, which tend to just teleport here when they're downed by an enemy. If you want to pick them up or carry them, you still have to wait for this elevator sequence to end. Which is now. So, we have 2 fairy stones left. We need 1 to get back to Bethal. And then we will need 2 more after that. So, and we pick up 1 more at the chest and we can buy 1 more. So technically we have, I think, 1 more than we would absolutely strictly need. But that is fine. That hopefully saves us from having to go to a shop and buy another one. But we have that option. So I guess you could teleport once more in Vernworth after the first castle mission. So at this point, just get out as quickly as you can. It's a bit annoying, the geometry here. Get back out to this balcony thing and teleport to Bag Bethal. We want to talk to... We wanted to get to the secret lab now and talk to Ambrosius again. Tell him that we got this broken dagger thing. You can leave this port crystal here, I think. We no longer need it. No, I think in this case you can actually pick it up and take it with you. There's like, there's a choice that you can make here how to approach waiting 1 night. Because after we talk to him, we have to wait 1 night. Usually we used to go back to the ox cart station and wait on that bench. But later we discovered that it's actually smarter to get arrested again. So you hand in that dagger here. He tells you, I can repair it, but I need like Worm's Life crystals. And we're like, yeah, we can get them from you. And he's like, wait, no way you can get those. And we're like, yeah, we already got those. And then he tells us to wait a night for him to fix the dagger, and in that case we would actually need another fairy stone if we went to the ox cart station to teleport back here. But you can also use the strat. It's easier when you find a guard with a shield. I don't know if there's one around here. Unlucky. Probably easier to go to the... Sometimes there's like guards with shields right next to him. In this case, we go to this guy and aggro him. And now we just hope that they kill us. And sometimes they kill us without arresting us, which is unfortunate. But I hope this looks like they will arrest us now. Now, as far as I can tell, we didn't get like a jailed key again. In this case, we need to bribe them to get out of prison. But we don't need the money anyway that we have. So it's fine. So we have no key. You have to wait a bit here for the dialogue option to appear. It's a bit weird. Now we can talk to him. offer a bribe. It is always 50% of what you own. And then you get back here and you automatically equip anything that you had equipped. So now already enough time has passed, because that skips a day getting jailed. That should be enough time passed in order to for this dagger here to be ready. You go in here, there's a cutscene automatically starting, and after that we only have to run to the final area. And there's this fight against the Gigantus, whatever, Colossus, or whatever you want to call him. I forgot what his actual name is. I think Colossus. Anyway, we just aggroed them. That might not be smart. Let's see. Anyway, the thing with him is that fight takes forever. Even if you would find a way to kill him very fast, or to like destroy all those little things that are stuck inside of him that you have to destroy in order to kill him. Even if you would find a way to do that really fast, he still needs to go to the first trigger point where he can actually die, because he can only die at trigger points where cutscene triggers, and that takes way too long. There's a way to skip this, and we will do this now. I think we were really unlucky and triggered. Or maybe not. I thought that we aggroed the guards. So if you go in here, there's another fairy stone here. And the thing is, as soon as we go in here and start the cutscene with them spawning, if we press escape right after that cutscene ends, or we skip it rather, now, we can still use a port crystal and still use a fairy stone, which we usually couldn't, right? As soon as if we wait a second, it's no longer possible. And in this case, we can teleport somewhere where there's like a nearby bench that is either Wernworth or Harvey. I usually pick Harvey. The advantage of Fernworth is, note that you need two fairy stones now. You need one to get back to here. The advantage of Fernworth is that we could actually buy a fairy stone if we need one more, or we can buy health potions if we want to. So here's the thing. You hear in the background now, you hear still the noise of the fight, like these explosions. And the fight is now ongoing, and there's like a second win condition against this guy. If enough time has passed, he will just die. That time is actually 4 days. So you can sit on a bench and wait for 4 days, or use an ox cart station and wait for 4 days. There is also a trick where you can skip this, and we don't know why that is the case, but you just have to wait 1 day. So you sit down and wait, usually like 3 or 4 times.
What to make of this?
Until there's the next day. If I get up now, I could, and I will. Thought about which route I want to show you. I can sit down now again and wait another time, just wait once, and this skips the fight. I will actually do that now to show you. And now it skips, it starts the segment that actually shows you that he's dead. And the problem now is with this approach is that once he is dead and we're not there, there will be a lot of enemies spawning in where he is now. A lot. And very nasty ones. So there's a second approach that I've seen it's Corpsey done in his run. I actually didn't know that. It should be substantially easier, and I highly recommend that you do it. But I will show you the hard way and probably fail at it. But the easy way is you wait 1 day like I just did, but you don't sit down and wait for another time, but you actually teleport back to that place where you just put the port crystal. So this should be around here.
We're just not going to deal with it, and we're just going to led into his own devices.
So he
you probably
teleports to
wanna have
Wernworth,
4 clicks,
also sits down,
but I will do
waits
5
for the
to
next
set his
day, and then goes shopping. We can skip that. And then goes back to this area. And now the Colossus fight is still ongoing. He waited a day, and if we would sit down now, it would actually skip the Colossus fight. But right now it's still ongoing, and he's like progressed into the area and still fighting. And you just take this route. You will see this now. I will take the same route.
that extra.
But what you can do here is, there's on your way there's this campfire, and you can camp here one more day with a camping kit, which is why I've showed you earlier how to get that camping kit.
So with it, you probably
And
wanna
when you wait
use the
with that camping
but
kit
just wait the entire time out.
until you
So
trigger
the
that
reason for that is because
fight
when
being
you do
over,
the last bit of waiting at the camp,
which is happening now, then this area is still clean of any enemies. They don't spawn in because we waited the last bit in here. And this is actually awesome. I didn't know that is possible, because the area that he's now running through, we will have to do that the hard way, and the hard way is very risky. So let's see how that goes for us. But note that it can be super easy if you just do this waiting here. It takes a few more seconds to do this waiting here with the camping kit. But if you start running this game, it is most definitely worth doing that, because we didn't do the strat where we don't take where we don't go to the nameless village. We did this for a very long time just because this part that is now coming up is so hard to survive. Especially because there are these blue harpies, and blue harpies are the worst. So I show you how this looks without that strat. We go back to Bethal. The fight is over, and now it's crowded with nasty folks. And it's also quite boring. At least the first half. We no longer need any teleportation, so we can just leave that port crystal there. And head down here. It would have probably also been smart to buy like healing potions. I have these 2. But I can't use them with like Control T shortcuts. I think, yeah. This row, we have one roborant that we can use with that shortcut. So these folks usually leave you alone, don't bother you too much. Really, the only thing that is extremely annoying are these blue harpies. I think they have a proper name, but I don't know proper names in this game anymore. And there are a few of these like slimy things, these creatures that are just a puddle of slime that you can get stuck in. They are also extremely annoying just because they cost you a lot of time. You can shortcut a little bit through the water here if it's just for one forward dash. And sometimes if you have pawns left, then you can kinda use them also as a distraction and leave them behind for especially the blue harpies to attack them, but usually the blue harpies prefer just still following you, aggroing you, just because their whole existence is based around being annoying as fuck. Anyway, this is the easy part. You would go down left to this campfire now in order to do the safe strat. And we follow ahead, do the non-safe strat. There's like a small cutscene that usually starts around these drakes. These are, yeah, these are creatures that you don't want to actually hit because they stun you when you hit them, as you have seen just now. I'm just showing you all the things that you should not do, of course. And now I have only healing where I actually need to go to the inventory for. Here, actually do the save strat and just do this. And there's the blue harpies that I mentioned earlier. There's a slime in here, by the way, if you've seen that health bar pop up for a millisecond there. And we just have to hope that the blue harpy don't grab us. It's basically a bit orangey. These groups here are also quite annoying because you auto-target them and they have auto-aim arrows. I already mentioned at some point that doing just this forward dash this here makes you surprisingly invincible. Use it in those groups. Hope that you don't get hit here by this large boy. And try to get here without too much auto-targeting of enemies, but it just happens. It's really sometimes not that easy avoidable. This is the most annoying thing, that you auto-target those because they stun you. Outrun the projectiles that follow you and jump down here. Once you get past here, this is the hardest part done, but we're still not through. Try not to auto-trigger that magma thing down there. It's like the slime creatures, but it does damage as well. Get up here. And again, more creatures that you should avoid auto-aiming because they stun you. And then there's like another group coming up with blue harpies and those. They're not the worst, they're quite easy. You can auto-target them and then go out. But these blue harpies here on the right side, again, they have a proper name. They're not named blue harpies, but I don't know how they're called. They're the worst, because they follow you. But in this case, I was kind of lucky regarding that I didn't really have much healing. As soon as you enter this area here, you're fine. You're just out of the hot zone. They de-aggro you. The camera wildly rotates after you have this cutscene, so you have to get back orientation. It's random, the direction in which you look after this. You want to go through this gate and then just follow ahead. Don't bother. You can attack like anyone here. Doesn't really matter, just go down quickly as quickly as you can down here. Skip through this dialogue, and now it's really easy. Now you're kind of settled. In Dragon Percent, so this guy that just talked to us, he's like, for casual gameplay, he's telling us right now would be the point where you would go to an inn and save, because this is a point of no return. After this, we cannot return and play the game normally, like go visit any location. And if you do a Dragon Percent run, this would be the point where you would go to the inn actually and switch to an archer, because you need to use the the unmaking arrow to kill the dragon at the very end. So you need to be an archer now. There are no more enemies that you need to fight right now, so it's really not a problem. Just don't forget, if you want to do the Dragon Percent ending, right now you would need to be an archer. There is an inn in the town here, in this camp. Switch your vocation and then proceed just as normally as I do now. For the bad ending, the fastest ending, you just need to go ahead. And for the true ending, you can also go ahead as a thief like I do now. For the true ending, you just attack the dragon and start the scene where you go where you ride on the dragon's back. And climb down, ram the dagger into the dragon's heart to go to like the post game, as you would normally. And in the post game, you just go to the end shrine, the seafloor shrine. Again, here, by the way, turn 90 degrees left, and you are pointed towards the exit. You go to the post game, to the unmoored world. You move directly to the seafloor shrine, and you just sleep for, I don't know, 11 days or something, until the world is consumed by the evil red whatever that destroys everything, and then you can start the end cutscene. So the true ending is really just sleeping 11 times in the unmoored world, which is why no one does it. There's really no point in doing it. The only difference why people might prefer the Dragon Percent ending is because it actually is a real ending that allows you to run an NG Plus run. The bad ending that we are about to do now, it has a cutscene, it has credits, but you cannot start a new game plus after that. So for the last fight here, this can be quite hard if you actually try to win it, but in our case we can just run away from it. And after this cutscene, we again, for the bad ending, we just run away. If you do a dragon percent ending, you shoot him with the with the unmaking arrow, and he's dead. End of game. In our case, we run away and say, yes, we're cowards. Please leave us alive. And the game is done. Time is when the Capcom logo was here. In bad ending, this happens right after this cutscene that is coming up. Which is now. This is time. This is the bad ending and the run done. For the Dragon Percent run, you will have this part where you get into this hall where your crowning as the sovereign is like celebrated, and you're supposed to sit on the throne. And in that room, just head towards the door at the end. You walk down like this long aisle back to the door, and as soon as you reach the door, there's like another cutscene, or no, there's no cutscene, and it just shows you the Capcom logo, and then your run is done. So, yeah, that is the new game run. My throat is kind of sore from talking now, but this should, as far as I know, cover this run entirely, like all of the different choices. The only thing that I couldn't really show is like different orders of doing the quests, but it doesn't really matter that much. It's just to figure out for yourself which order you find the most appealing. And apart from that, most of the strat works. You can like juggle around which fairy stones you pick up or don't pick up, how many you use. If you buy one more, to have one more that you can use. If you buy one more, you maybe don't want to pick up the one where you have to do this Assassin's Creed climbing stuff, because it takes the longest. So there's something that you can play around with, figure out. There's also other detours that you can take for other fairy stones, but they're usually too far off the path that you want to take to be worth it. In my opinion, the NG run is by far the least finished one, where I see a lot of optimizations done. I think the world record time should be easy to beat, especially if you use the waterfall cave skip and a few other optimizations. But of course, the run itself, like the Green Mango, is quite skilled with the game. So on the route they took, they were really good at it. But I think that the route I just showed you has a lot of potential to be improved upon and to beat that world record should you want to. So that's it. I hope it's useful to anyone. If it's not, at least I got a chance to try running NG again, at least in order to do this video. And now I'm gonna work on the NG Plus video, which I'm way more excited about, because the NG Plus run is way more fun. That's it. Have fun and good luck.